I went to the Port of Nagoya Public Aquarium, and here's how it went. I took the train there, got off at Nagoya-ko Station, and then walked another 6 minutes or so. Nagoya Port is mainly known for their fireworks shows and festivals, so this was actually my first time ever seeing the place without tens of thousands of people in every direction. It was surprisingly a really peaceful and quiet part of the city that I almost couldn't believe it was the same place. Anyways, I go and I buy a ticket, and it costs 2,030 yen. There didn't seem to be that many people at the aquarium at first, so I thought I got lucky. I didn't do any real research before coming, so I didn't have any expectations. I was really impressed by the underwater display. It was fascinating to get to see the animals from so close. I was kind of confused by their movements, with all the dolphins, orcas, and beluga whales just swimming endlessly in the same loop. I also thought it was so interesting that one of the aquarium's dolphins, named Happy, had a spinal deformity, and they had all of his x-rays on display, kind of explaining his conditions and how it didn't affect him at all, actually. Anyways, a floor above had a whole stadium with the animals doing tricks and everything. I went to that stadium and tried to get a good view of the dolphin show, but all the good spots were already taken. So, turns out the reason it was pretty empty inside was because everybody was out here. Some even came with professional cameras and everything. I finally managed to find a spot to watch the show from, but it could have been better. It was cool to watch the trainers command the dolphins and the whales almost like they were dogs. But the whole time, I was just thinking about how cold the trainers must be, having to get their arms and their feet wet in 0-degree weather. What was also really interesting to see was just how massive the orca whales were outside of the water. Because inside of the tanks, yeah, they still look huge, but it's kind of hard to fully comprehend their actual size. Seeing an orca whale jump like 3 meters into the air in its massive size genuinely made me gasp. After the show, I kept walking around the aquarium and looked at all the different fish. There were a ton of different rooms with different exhibits and sculptures and maps and whatnot. There was just so much educational material. At first I tried to keep up with it and read each thing, hoping maybe I could actually learn something, but I quickly realized this was way out of my scope, and I just accepted that I was going to be going, ooh, pretty, at like 90% of the exhibits. The section of the aquarium with the penguins also kind of freaked me out. Besides the fact that it was one of the most crowded parts of the entire place, the actual penguin enclosure seemed really small. And the painted walls that looked like the sky reminded me of the Truman Show, and that kind of depressed me. I don't know anything about penguins or the conditions that they're meant to live in, but I really couldn't believe that they weren't overcrowded. It was even crazier when the caretakers came to feed them. One of the highlights of the aquarium for me had to be this long-toothed grouper fish. This guy was a riot. I was cracking up. I loved the expression on his face. Was absolutely devastated to look this fish up and find out its species conservation status was vulnerable due to overfishing. One of my other highlights was this insane sardine display. They call it the tornado of sardines. It was just enchanting to look at. I wondered where the fish thought they were all going though. On the route out of the aquarium were a lot more educational displays with a bunch of these old illustrations of different sea creatures. The old diving suits did freak me out though, but I also couldn't tear my eyes away from them. I took a quick look at the gift shop before I left. It had the standard plushies and keychains and whatnot, and even a prime example of Japanese people's strange obsession with animal buttholes. Yeah, I didn't end up buying anything, but it was cool to look around. Overall, it was a pretty nice experience, but I probably won't repeat it just because some of the animals' conditions seemed kind of sketch. Anyways, thank you for watching. Bye!